14 WILI and 95.3 FM presents Hometown Threads, a closer look at our community and the people that make it go. Every week, you'll hear uplifting stories from our local businesses and our neighbors. Now, here's our host for Hometown Threads, Keith C. Rice.
Episode 46 of Hometown Threads on 14 WILI, 95.3 FM, and Willimantic Today Facebook. The Tuesday shows come together here. We'll get to that in just a sec. I'm sure we all know who follows Hometown Threads, and we'll get to our wonderful guests in just a sec. But just a reminder, Hometown Threads comes your way every Tuesday, 5:05 to 5:30 on 14 WILI, 95.3 FM, and of course later in the week on Willimantic Today Facebook. Big thanks to our sponsor, Liberty Bank, Beat Community Kind, with 3 great local locations right next door to the radio station, 679 Main Street, Willimantic, West Main Street, Willimantic, Gateway Commons by Job Lot, and then, of course, up on Route 195 in Mansfield, Liberty Bank, Beat Community Kind. J. Matt Rupar, our fine producer, would you mind helping us to say hello to everyone?
Hello.
Big thanks to J. Matt Rupar, Willimantic Today, and now let's bring in our wonderful guest for episode 46. Sorry, guys, we're going to have to probably hang out for an hour because they follow Hometown Threads every week. So it's going to be like, you're used to doing like a 25, 30-minute show.
That's exactly right.
Like myself. So let's bring in Ernie Eldridge and Anita Sebastian from The Neighborhood, the Tuesday shows.
Hey, we've been waiting a long time to get on your show.
Yes, we have.
You made it in before episode 50.
I should have cut my hair like you did. I mean, I did.
Maybe I could stick around and be on The Neighborhood next, and then we could
I think we probably will.
I know.
And Matt Sark is the main man. There's just no doubt about it. He's always been the main man for us and the main man for everybody.
Yeah, so you guys, right off the bat, how long have you been doing The Neighborhood?
Oh, gosh, 15 years, Matt, has it been?
I thought it was longer than that.
No, I don't think it's been 15 years yet, because I've been here 15 years, so...
Okay. And you weren't here when you were here when...
I was with Bruce and Hannah.
Well, I thought J. Matt Rupar was part of the deal when The Neighborhood started.
It really
you guys
was.
brought
I
him
thought
in.
so, too. So, okay. Well, I was just trying to think of how many times we were elected for office, and I'm trying to think, it was 8 years here, 12 years there, so maybe 12 years.
Sounds right,
okay?
yeah.
You got it,
Yeah.
12 years.
Oh, well, let's get into that, too. And Anita's with us as well. Ernie and Anita do The Neighborhood, which follows Hometown Threads, 5:30 to 6, sometimes 5:35. If I go too long, I'm sorry about that.
Okay.
You brought up running for office. I moved away for a bunch of years, so get me up to speed. You were mayor from when to when in Willimantic?
Oh, goodness. Now I can't remember when I was.
There's going to be a lot of those questions, so get ready.
I want to say it was 2019 is when I got elected or was it the end of 2019 that I was off? Yeah, that's when I ended. So whatever 8 years before that is, that's when I got elected to it. So
okay, so 8 years, you did 2 terms, right?
I did 2 terms, 8 years, yeah. But before that I was on Zoning Board of Appeals, and I was chairperson there, and I can remember the Democrats saying, because I'm Republican, okay, the Democrats saying, how can Ernie be the chairperson? He's not a Democrat,
Oh, boy.
So I can remember that to this day. I loved it. I absolutely loved it. So, anyways, Anita has been on the Board of Finance a number of times.
Now, Anita, you're both from this area. You both grew up in this community. I know Ernie. Okay, Ernie grew up here, but Anita, let's start with Anita. Where did you grow up?
I grew up in Trumbull.
Trumbull.
And
Wayno lived in Trumbull at one point.
And I came to Eastern, and as I say, I stayed.
So ECSU brought you here at the time, wasn't it? It was probably ECSC, right?
Yeah, it was just in the process of changing over.
Oh, really? Yeah, that'd be what, 80s changed over, somewhere around there. So Eastern brought you,
Eastern brought me because I had to stay in state. My father was a teacher, and what education costs are. They told me I had to stay in state, and Eastern was the one that was farthest away from home.
Wow. So is your family still in Trumbull?
No.
Okay.
Not any longer.
So Eastern brings you here, you fall in love with the community. Eventually you meet this fine man, we'll get into that. But what were you studying in Eastern?
Elementary ed.
Elementary ed. And then you went on to, what happened after Eastern?
I got a position in Chaplin and stayed there my entire teaching career.
Wow, at Chaplin Elementary?
Elementary, yeah.
Okay, and what grade did you teach? Probably bounced around?
I started out as a remedial reading teacher. I did that for the majority of the time, and then I bounced back and forth between 3rd and 4th grade.
And loved it, right? Loved teaching?
For the most part, yes.
Okay.
The kids, pretty much. All the political stuff, not so much.
Yeah. Can only imagine what's being taught in the schools these days. But we're not going to go down that
Well,
road.
what's not being taught.
What's not being taught,
in schools
yes.
these days.
Okay, so Ernie, you told me you're from this area, right?
Sure, born and raised right in Wyndham Center, diagonally across from Frog Pond. So I heard all
Okay.
those old chugga-rums there every summer there. You'd hear them croaking as you walked to Grandpa's Farm. Grandpa's Farm was just down the road, and my family farm, where my mom still resides, is just up the road, another block over. So, but and I've always been there in Wyndham Center until I moved to Willimantic. Now, when I moved to Willimantic, I met this wonderful lady here.
Let's hear the story.
The story.
Come on, let's hear the story.
Anyways, next door neighbor was an antiques dealer, and I liked antiques, and so we got kind of hooked together. He and I did. As far as I was a skinny, scrawny little guy, I only weighed like 110 pounds at 6'1". I was like a skeleton, but I could load a truck. Let's put it that way. So, anyways, I met Anita, and she couldn't go to Brimfield with me the first time, so because she had a dog, and I couldn't find
Brimfield.
someone to take care of the dog. So,
And they also said it was going to rain.
Wait, now this is the day you guys met, right? Is that what you're talking
just about,
Just
just
about.
about.
Okay, so they
just
said
about.
it was going to rain.
Yep, so, you put the fact that it was going to be a rainy weekend, couldn't find anybody to dog sit. I said, no.
So, anyways, we only been dating about 3 days, and the third day I didn't show up for dinner. And usually, you want to try to give the woman a little bit of time, free time, not having me hang around.
It was
so,
you just flat out didn't show
didn't
up.
show up, just flat out didn't show up. And so,
Ernie!
About 10 o'clock at night, I showed up just to say hello. And she met me at the door, hit me in the head with a loaf of Italian bread, and said, "You are going to enjoy this homemade lasagna, even though it's black. You're going to enjoy it and say that it's very good, aren't you?" And I moved in the next day.
And you still got that bump on your back.
I still got that
Italian
bump.
bread, right?
That
She knocked some sense
that
into you.
was- that was
Anita,
so-
that's any comments on that story?
Truth. It was truth. He told the truth.
Now you got me wanting lasagna. Oh. Wow.
Her homemade lasagna was good. And
So,
anyways,
so this
that was 1975.
so you learned your lesson. After that-
7th, 1975.
that was 75. Okay.
November 6th, 1975. There we go. We got, gotta
Yeah,
get it
you got
straight.
the date, November
And
6th, the
we're
day
working
after
on-
my
we're
anniversary.
working on 49 years this year, so 49 years.
So wait, November 6th is kind of like your anniversary?
Exactly
Is that-
right.
is
Yeah, that's
November
what we
5th
celebrate.
Is,
Oh, is that
November
right?
5th is mine.
Oh, I'll be darned.
We should go on a double date.
I love it. I
So
love it.
November 6th, 1975.
Yep.
The famous lasagna story.
Yep.
What happens after you just things just took
Well,
off?
I was
from there?
working for Volkswagen at that time.
Oh, were you?
Yeah, I worked for Volkswagen. I was a Volkswagen mechanic at that time, and I worked for Volkswagen until, well, in fact, they closed in 75. I started there in 72, and they closed in 75. And then I worked another Volkswagen garage as a service manager and stuff like that.
So you
But-
did a lot of car work.
Yeah, I did a lot of car work, but I was when Volkswagen went from air cooled to water cooled. That's when Ernie says I'm done. So that's when I got into the junk business or the antiques business.
The junk.
I should say.
All right. So how many years did you do cars? And then
Oh, I don't know how many years I do cars. 10, 15 years, maybe 15 years.
and then what made you say, "Ooh, the junk"? I mean, the antique business. What drew you to that?
The business was good. We were making money, and the business was good. and
Oh, so
things
you were
were
already
set.
kind of doing that.
I was kind of doing, yeah, I'd work 3 days at the garage and do with the rest at,
all
the
right.
weekends doing this or working auctions. We'd work, both Anita and I worked for a fellow auctioneer who retired and we took his place is what we did. That's how we got our foot in the door, so.
And that's how long has your auctioneer business been going on now?
About 40 years, isn't it,
40
Anita?
years.
Yeah, about 40 years, yeah.
Almost.
And I'm sure, people calling you left and right. I know the lovely Sir Optimist calling you to do. What other places in the area call on?
We used to do quite
Auctioneer.
a few, and when COVID came, it really took the chunk out of what we used to do. Maybe
Absolutely.
15 or more a year benefit auctions. We do the 4-H auction down there in New London County, which is in London County 4-H, which is North Franklin,
Okay.
and we do that. It's a 2-day auction. It was what it is, and they run us hard. How sad. We start at 5:30. We run until about 10:30 at night, right straight through. So, but
What we do for the Theater Guild also.
right, we do the Theater
Theater
Guild,
Guild.
exactly right, and we're going to we do the Theater Guild, we do the Sir Optimus, we did the Spignesi auction for a number of years. That was the officer that had gotten shot, and so they have a benefit auction. So we do a lot of different things like that.
Ernie Eldridge, Anita Sebastian from the neighborhood, which follows Hometown Threads. Our guest here, episode 46, brought to you by Liberty Bank, Be Community Kind. Anita, what exactly do you do for the Auctioneer Gallery again? What's your role?
Well, during the auction, I'm the one that takes the money.
Well, that's the important part right there.
Early on in the auction, well, before the auction, actually, we have to set up. So you're unwrapping stuff that you wrapped at the house where you got it.
Wow, that's very important. It's kind of like my wife in the on-the-side DJ business. She does all the technical setup, and then it's kind of like turning on the mic to do the DJ. You turn on the mic and do the auctioneer.
Do the auctioneer, exactly right. Yeah.
So Anita's probably going to roll her eyes when I ask you to do this, but I'm going to ask you to do this. Give us a little sample of Ernie in action.
Oh gosh, we normally did that one time. Anyways, we got this nice glass of water here, and who's going to give me a $10 bid for a 10 bid? 12 and a half, 12 and a half, 15, 15, 17 and a half, $20 now, 22 and a half, 25. We all done it. 22 and a half bid, 25, 25 is bid, 27 and a half. Sold $25.
How about that? One year I had to fill in for this guy at the Sir Optimus Ball.
And you did very well.
Oh, well, you're very kind. I was nervous.
I was nervous I was going to lose the job.
Stop it.
Really?
Look, I have no problem getting in front of I get in front of crowds all the time. Getting in front of the crowd is not the problem. Thinking about, oh my God, do I have to do that? And I just, but you know what? I'm not what do they call it, an auctioneer, right?
Yeah.
I wasn't an auctioneer. I got up there and just did it my own way. You know?
That's exactly what you're supposed to do.
That's the other question I have. How do you develop that? I know you've been doing this like 40 years. There must be, you got to practice that, or how does that just
Well, like I said, we worked for, both Anita and I worked for a fellow auctioneer, and Freddie Clark, who's no longer with us, and he let me get up on the block and do a little bit of selling. And so, but you do your own style is exactly right. You do your own style. Whatever gets you there is what you don't want to emulate somebody. You want to be your own person.
Yeah, but before say you got one coming up tomorrow, well, you've been doing it for 40 years, so you don't need to practice. Is there, in your early days doing this, there had to be some kind of practice.
No, not really. No.
You talk so fast, you got to keep track of the...
No, well, you know what? When I was in high school, I went to E.O. Smith High School is where I went. I went to grammar school here in Wyndham, and I went to E.O. Smith High
My
School.
father went to Smith.
And they're the ones that saved my behind. How's that? I wasn't a very good student. And so, you when you're not a very good student, you're not, you say, I don't know if I want to do this, I don't want to do this, I don't want to. And the FFA and the Stores Regional really found my calling. How's that? We did public speaking, we did parliamentary procedure contests and stuff like that. So yeah, I got into it, and that helped me.
You found your niche.
Right, exactly right. But I've never been scared of a crowd. My family had a country and western band when I was young, and a Humminstrom Eldridges, and so I played the jug. That's all I could play. I played the jug. My sisters played the guitar. My mother played the guitar. My father played a wash tub with a G-string on it. Boom, 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 boom. And we'd go around to every town hall. Minstrel shows were big back then. I remember.
Okay.
You remember minstrel shows at all? No, you see,
No.
you're not as old as I am. Minstrel shows with N-men, N-men telling jokes and all kinds of stuff. And you'd have people singing like they're lip syncing, and then you'd have other people doing dancing, and it's just all different acts. Is what it was. So.
Anita, you got any good stories from? You've been to so many auctions with this guy. There must be some kind of stories where he accidentally, said the wrong thing. Or is there anything? Both of you, if anyone have a story from the top of their head.
Well, I remember one very early on.
Okay.
And we were still working for Freddie at the time, and Freddie had that very. I don't know what kind of habit bad habit maybe. He would be holding something that was fairly worth a lot, and he would all of a sudden just throw it to one of the runners. And sometimes they dropped it, and
oh my God!
Sometimes they caught it. And
I caught it, didn't I?
Yes, you did.
I don't remember it, but I guess I caught it. Was it a brass candlestick? Was it or something?
No, it was something breakable.
Okay.
It was
my God!
It was always breakable stuff that he
like
would be
a good
throwing.
bottle or something that
Yeah.
brought 500
Is this why he was?
bucks.
Wow.
Yeah, some stories I can't tell on the air. Some of the things that happened, so we'll leave that.
Oh,
alone.
you could tell the one about the pregnant lady.
Oh, jeez.
Ooh,
No,
pregnant lady, okay.
No, you don't want to tell that
All
one.
right, that'll be the off-air show.
That would get you off the air is what it would do.
Now, both of you, I've seen both of you on mic at the Sir Optimus Ball. I think Anita's helped you with.
Oh, she does all the
introducing-
time.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, no. She's my call person. She likes to talk, and she does auctions also.
Did she do the auctioneer voice?
She had done. Yes,
Can
she
she?
had.
I filled in.
You filled in for
filled
him?
in a couple
Really?
of times for
Could
me.
you-
When
Anita, let's
we
go.
double when we double book, sometimes you double book, you go, oh my gosh,
Yeah,
what am I
that's-
gonna do?
yeah.
You know, and you know that. Yeah, I'm sure you. Well, yeah,
knock on wood, hasn't happened yet, but yeah, it happens accidentally when you have.
yeah, it does. You know, you end up double booking and you have a problem. So, but anyways,
So what? Along with the auctioneer business, which you do when you knew for 40 years plus, that's been your love and your passion, both of you, right? You were mayor for 2 terms. You got
Yes.
any good stories while you were mayor that you want to share?
Yeah, I think the greatest thing, the kids. It's either the kids or the real older people. And now we're getting to be the older people. But I'd come home from a party. When you were first elected mayor of Windham, all right, that's the honor I have, is that I am the first elected mayor of Windham. Willimantic had mayors, but Windham never had it. So I was the first mayor of Windham. And so I was invited to every party that came around. Any function they had, I was invited
Rolling
to.
out the red carpet.
Exactly right. So anyways, I'd come home and she'd say, I know where you've been a bunch of older ladies, you know, because of Lily the Valley or whatever it was, you know, the perfume, you go, wow, you know, you just go, whoa, you know. But you'd go visit the kids and the kids think you were king, you know.
Yeah.
You try to explain to the kids you're just a plain person, you know. But they don't say, you got your limo outside? Or where's your bodyguard? Where's your bodyguard? You know,
I can't believe I'm sitting next to the former mayor here. How about that? The first elected mayor of Windham.
That's exactly right.
And that was 2008?
Yeah, something like that.
Something
yeah.
like that. All right,
yeah,
we'll just,
yeah.
no more referring to exact years. We'll just say something like that from now on. Now, along with being, having that honor, you're now filling in for Santa these days. Santa's a very busy at the North Pole.
Absolutely.
What's it like to be filling in for the big guy?
I think it's scary because kids want certain things and they expect Santa Claus to be able to deliver. And I hesitate to say, oh yeah, I can do that, or oh yeah, I can't do that. But playing Santa Claus has just been interesting. Let's put it that way.
How many years have you been doing that now? Filling in for the big guy?
10 years, maybe, Anita.
Well, yeah, when you consider that you've done some parades and things like
Right,
that.
exactly right. So how I got into it was.
Does Anita fill in for Mrs. Claus?
Yes, yes, you do from time to time. But
that's
Dawn,
right, the library.
Dawn here.
Dawn Niles.
Dawn
Fills in,
Niles
yep.
is my Santa Claus or my Mrs. Claus, and we have a great relationship that way. Politically, no, but otherwise, great. And Dawn would be the first one to say that. Anyways, what had happened was. We had the parade all planned. It was a fire truck parade, and it's got to be like 15 years. For the fire trucks parade, I think it was 15 years. Anyways, all of a sudden, Charlie, who was down at the rec department at that time, says, Ernie, I just got a call. I was the mayor at that time. I just got a call. He says, what's wrong? He says, Santa Claus is broke down. He can't make it. I said, what do you mean he's broke down? He can't make it. He can't make it. I said, what the devil are we going to do? He says, I don't know, he says, I got an outfit. How about you? You going to do it?
The mayor.
So I did it. Exactly right. And since then, I've always been, filling in for Santa. Exactly
And speaking of the parades, this has been coming up frequently. It just happened, but big shout out to previous guest just a couple episodes ago, Josh Niles, who's sitting right here. And look, first of all, I'm ashamed to admit that was my first holiday light parade. I did move away for a bunch of years, but you were there, obviously, filling in for Santa. Anita, were you there as well?
I was at the Gilson House.
Okay, you were at the Gilson House because that's where all the.
She's the president of that historical society this year.
I heard there was a big ceremony down there.
Oh, yeah.
But what a night and it's on record as the biggest and best holiday light parade, which has been going on. Josh said, it kicked off in 07, so 15, 16 years.
Yep, that's it.
And now the previous parades, obviously it was cold on Black Friday night. The streets were filled, but the parades in years past, I'm sure they were good, but just not that many people, or what?
Right, exactly right. It was just how it just flowed is what the problem. Sometimes we had problems where they didn't shut down the street completely, where we'd be on one lane driving the trucks through, and the traffic be going the other lane, so people are on the sidewalk trying to say hi. And we finally got that straightened out. Josh finally got that straightened out. And but no, it just came to the point where everybody's saying, "Man, this is something I want to be part of." And Josh works very hard at it, and
he does.
Deserves, all the accolades.
And one thing, as the radio station, and Arthur and I were driving in what we call the clown car, the station vehicle.
Yeah.
We have that all decorated, but I'm looking at Art going, next year we're putting speakers on this thing and we're blasting Christmas music because as great as that recent parade was a couple weeks ago, as great as that was, I didn't hear any Christmas music. Now
There's some dead spots, just like the boombox parade.
so we
just
can.
like the boombox
There's
parade.
always room to improve.
There is room to improve.
And we're going to bring the Christmas music next year here. WILI will provide the Christmas music.
that sounds great.
So, what did you guys take away from? Because I left there that Friday night going, wow, that was amazing. I mean, it was just.
I agree. Except that I was on top of the ladder truck, so
How was that?
I get to see the whole parade. Well, there was, I mean, there's always a little glitches, and the little glitches was that it was so many vehicles there, and trying to get the trucks maneuvered onto Gilson Square because of people, because of cars parked, because of this was very challenging, and it took an extra half an hour to get myself off of the truck, which wasn't a big problem. I mean, I was up in the air and there's a little bit of wind blowing or something. In past year we've had snow. I think is
Right,
one
there was
year.
one year that it snowed.
It snowed.
It was beautiful.
I never seen video of that, and I turned to whoever I go. This looks like something from the Hallmark Channel. It looked beautiful.
Yeah.
I think it was just a few years ago. Yeah.
But it's always the kids are, like I said, the best part of anything, and portraying Santa Claus, which I do now down at Eastbrook Mall. You come see me.
That's right. Little plug. Go ahead. Where are you going to be?
I'm every weekday from 4 to 8, and then the weekends I'm 11 to 8, which is a very long day. But,
Whereabouts in the Eastbrook Mall are you?
We are just right near the courtesy desk, and we have a nice setup there with some nice elves that help me out, and pictures can be taken with Santa Claus, and it's just great.
Filling in for Santa, so go check him out at the Eastbrook Mall.
Just one cute story. I shouldn't leave Anita out. I talk too darn much, but I had one young lady who was dressed up like a fashion queen, and she's probably 6-7 years old. I mean, she's got the whole thing going on. I know we're on camera, so I can do it. With the high heels and the diva type thing. But she didn't want to sit on Santa's lap. So she sat down beside me. And we took pictures, and the mother gets up and says, "Why wouldn't you sit on Santa's lap?" He says, "He's creepy."
I'm sure you got tons of those stories.
I said, all right, I'm thinking, well, my goodness, that's the pot calling the kettle black.
Great. Oh my God. All right, I got a question for Anita. All the years you guys did the neighborhood, bring back, I don't mean to put you on the spot, but what some of your best memories of the shows in the neighborhood, some of the guests you guys had on the neighborhood over the years? Any stories you can remember off the top of your head?
All of them are good. I don't think there's one that has been a bad show ever.
No, I don't
what do you
think
think?
so.
No, I don't think so.
No, we haven't.
I think the best show would be when Keith C. Rice gets on, but
I haven't been invited yet. Well, maybe I should stick around today.
We did invite you, but you are a busy man. You said.
Oh, that's right. You did. I'm sorry.
Yeah,
You
but
did.
there was a year or so.
Well, do you
ago,
want me to
so.
stick around
Sure,
for today?
sure,
Sure.
absolutely.
That would be
Maybe
wonderful.
we could do that.
But
Actually, it'll be like doing an hour show, combining the shows. Keith C, Ernie E, and Anita S. Right?
That's exactly right.
Hanging out from 5:05 to 6.
No, I don't think we've ever had a bad show.
Well, not a bad show, but just guests that really stick out. Like
We had one lady that was very adamant about autism, and that one kind of
that's
got
right.
to you. I mean, you really had to, because most people think autism is a something that's like, all of a sudden this person acts that way, but it doesn't mean that. I mean, there's people who are autistic who are very well functioning in the town, and something, or very, in businesses or something like that. Very meaningful. It was.
All right, a couple minutes left here. I don't want to cut into the neighborhood because I'm on the show next, I guess.
Yeah.
Now, real quick, I want to get into Wyndham Center real quick here.
Yes.
Because you and I, we all live right near each other in Wyndham Center.
Yep, you're
and I
right.
thought of you instantly. The other day I'm at the intersection and I see the Wyndham Inn. There's the tarp, the scaffolding, and you're the first person that came to mind. I've seen you mowing the lawn there before. What's going on with the Wyndham Inn?
Well, they're doing the roof on it is what they're doing, and I know they did the front half, which was okay, and I think the back half is having some major problems with some structural damage, but they're putting the roof on it and trying to save it. I mean, if you put a roof on something, you can save it. I don't care if the walls are open, the windows are blowing. If you keep a roof on something, it'll save it. So they're trying to, work their way through. They only have a certain amount of times and so on, and they have to get grants, and so it takes time to do the grants. So.
And the roof is a big grant.
Yep.
Yeah, and Anita, Ernie was telling me before that it's really the back of the building that needs a lot of work.
Yeah,
and,
it does.
Yes.
Yep.
and there's no timetable, obviously. If you were to guess, who's
No.
the crew's working on it, by the way?
That I cannot.
Oh, we can't reveal?
answer. Nope.
Oh, okay,
Not
okay.
at this time.
But then I was excited. I go, hey, look at that! They're the Wyndham Inn. You know, they're going to work on it. They're working on it. Fantastic. Okay, both of you, as I throw out to all my guests, final thoughts, any closing words before we wrap up this edition?
Thank
of
you
Hometown
for allowing
Friends?
us on the show. Like I said, Anita and I have been waiting a long
Yes,
time to
thank
get
you so much.
so much. It's you do a wonderful show, and you're a funny guy.
Well, thank you.
And you and I get along well together
Oh.
because we're funny dudes.
I love both of you. How about you, Anita? Any final words? Any closing thoughts?
It was an honor to be here.
Oh, thank you very much. And I can't wait to have some of that lasagna someday. Just don't hit me over the head with Italian bread. Thank you. I wish we had, well, actually, I'll say, I'm
You're
looking
cutting
forward.
into our time, so it doesn't matter.
I know,
You
might as well
we'll be
just
okay.
hang out. I don't even, do I have to wrap up Hometown Threads? Well, I guess I do, for the Willimantic Today portion. So thank you again to Ernie and Anita, J. Matt Rupar, everyone at Willimantic Today, Liberty Bank, Be Community Kind. That'll wrap things up for episode 46 of Hometown Threads on 14 WILI, 95.3 FM and Willimantic Today Facebook. And the words of the great Roddy McCumber. Bye for now, folks. Bye for now.
And that concludes another edition of Hometown Threads. Got a story for Keith? Reach out to him on Facebook by searching Keith C. Rice or email him at krice@hallradio.net. Don't forget to tune in next week on 14 WILI and 95.3 FM, as well as the Willimantic Today page on Facebook.